Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the final where Liverpool 2, Everton 0. Defeat for Everton in the 243rd Merseyside Derby at Anfield. Decided by Craig Pawson, let's be honest. Jack with us in the studio. This is hard to... It's hard to look anywhere else other than Craig Pawson for the match winner.
You cheat.
Yeah, well, it makes our job hard to do because it's hard to analyse a game that's been so heavily influenced by something that's meant to be an outside factor, not meant to influence the game, just then force the rules of the game. And when a bit of creative licence is took with that, it impacts the game in an unsavoury fashion, doesn't it?
Bless you.
That's right.
Yeah,
the thought of it, it's just making you ill,
just
isn't it?
Craig Pawson, it's just got into my nostrils
made
me sneeze. Which probably was the wrong decision for him on that one as well. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, we can analyse the game, but obviously it's a game which is a huge factor in it. Is a decision which, who knows which way the game would have gone if the right decision had been made, but the wrong decision has been made. You know, a decision has been made to give the foul. I understand I've just said decision loads of times. A foul has been given, and the appropriate action should have been a yellow card. And at 10 players each, who knows how that changes the game? Do we come out a little bit? Do we change what we're doing? Do we stay what we're doing? Does it make it harder for Liverpool to break us down? Does Michael Keane still put his hand out for the bus? I don't know. But in the cold light of the day, these decisions shouldn't be happening. These are supposed to be the referees at the top of the tree. And listen, it's football. You're going to have decisions going for you and against you in terms of fouls or whatever it is. But when a decision has been made and then the appropriate action doesn't follow, to me, that's why this is such a bad one. And again, because the examples had already been given during the game of what is a yellow card and what isn't a yellow card, scandalous, absolutely scandalous. And we shouldn't be sitting here talking about it, but we can find ourselves talking about it again. And it's when these kind of games now are coming down to a club like us or a team like us, maybe not a club like us, a team like us, needing every single advantage we can get. In a Merseyside Derby now, unfortunately, the way things are, we need to be playing at our best. They need to be playing a little bit underneath it. We need the referee to be just, all we can ask for us to be fair now because of everything that we've got, because we've got VAR. You don't get those games anymore. People still think that for some reason you're still going to get a Merseyside Derby that's full of cut and thrust, and the referee is going to let this one go and let that one go and everyone's going to get one. Doesn't work like that, and that's fair enough. Footy is going crap because of that.
Down version,
it is. It's not. It's going crap. You know, it doesn't matter. Liverpool would say that if they were playing Man City, and you know, every team will have someone who's bigger than them. When they play, they need that advantage. And that it's not even an advantage. You just want that fairness in a game. And unfortunately, on Saturday, I feel like that was taken away from us. And if you haven't got that opportunity to play a level playing field, then a team like Everton are going to really struggle to find the edges to maybe get something out of the game.
Yeah. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised because we've had it regularly against Liverpool, at Anfield especially. I mean, Craig was seeing someone had put up that it was the 5th Everton player Craig Pawson sent off in the last 24 games, and in 31 games at Everton Liverpool he hasn't sent anyone off. You can't really use the Liverpool one because it might not have been appropriate, but to be the 5th player to sending off 5 Everton players in 24 games is a bit mad. Sean Dyche went with the same team that beat Bournemouth, which you can argue all day whether that was the right or the wrong decision. And Everton had an attempt at goal in the first 30 seconds. Dwight McNeil done well, created a bit of space for himself, put a great ball in. Dominic Calvert-Lewin beat Van Dijk in the air, and he just couldn't head it either side of Allison. It might have caused a problem. Instead of it straight at him, but it showed straight away there was a little bit of attack and threat there. And we knew going into it, Liverpool were going to have all of the ball. No problem with that. That's the way it is. That's where we are and where they are. And we're just better without the ball, I said it. Building up to the game. We'll play on the counter-attack, and that was how it was set up, Jack.
Yeah, it was, and I don't know if I'm being a little bit harsh on Calvert-Lewin here, but I thought he maybe could have done a little bit better with his chances. I know it's an awkward one, he has to get up early for it, to get ahead of Van Dijk, so then he's hanging, he can't get as much nod on it, can't nod at either side, but it was a very positive start to the game, and you think, okay, that's good, let's more of that, not necessarily flying forward at every opportunity, but counter-attacking, absolutely, and you're absolutely right in what you say about possession, not having the ball. Statistically, our manager wins far more games when his side doesn't have the ball, has less of the ball. I think when looking over the past year of Sean Dyche football, we went over this a few weeks ago, but he won one game where his side have had more possession. So, yeah, we were suited to that, and we know chances are going to be few and far between for us, but you're hoping you can make them count and put them on the back foot and make them afraid, because they have the talents. They're the team with, the multi-million-pound wingers, the goal scorers, etc. But if you can get them a little bit worried about what's going to come back at them if they lose the ball going forward, you can make them a lot more timid as well. So it was a positive start to the game, I thought.
Ped, I mean, there is some discussion about, Patterson for Young or whatever, but Everton did start the game quite... We were able to quell anything Liverpool really had, and if ironically, they looked more dangerous when we had a corner or a free kick, and they broke on them.
Yeah, there was a lot of they had obviously a lot of the ball, and there was a lot of the ball getting thrashed across the box or bouncing outside the box, and there was a lot of last-ditch defending. Well, that's what you're always going to get in these games. For again, you've got to look at the differences in the two sides. I mean, I see again that the sending off, and because they didn't get a sending off, does take away from the game of football. It's hard to analyse a game properly, but you look at you look at their midfield and our midfield and think it's going to be tough for them today. You look at our fullbacks, and I can't stress this enough how our fullbacks limit the side so much. I'm not having a go at it's Mykolenko, who I thought had a really good game, but he's so limited in his attacking play, and Ashley Young doesn't want to get forward, and when Patterson does play, the manager doesn't want him to get forward, that it really limits the way we play football. I mean, that's just simple fact. You've got to be a little bit braver, I think, but also the balance then becomes really, really difficult. You can understand why you're not throwing Ashley Young forward and why Mykolenko maybe doesn't go forward as much, because he's got someone like Salah. It's a really difficult balancing act. And you look at that from the point of view of Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison, every time he got the ball, had at least two men on him. Didn't have anywhere to go. He's very rarely going to go on the outside. So it makes it a lot easier for the opposition. And they cover him. One of the midfielders comes over and the fullback covers him. And especially with the fullback they had at the game, who's a lot more defensive. If you don't have that overlapping fullback, you never create the opportunity to overload, to create the space. And I thought that's where, don't get me wrong, it's a very difficult thing to do. It's very hard to be brave, especially in the context of the game being a Merseyside Derby. Yeah. It's ridiculously hard. Some teams will go there who are in similar situations to us and have got nothing to lose and will gamble, and sometimes it'll pay off. Very rarely, but sometimes it does, and you'll look at them and go, why aren't we ever doing that? But in the context of the game, as an Evertonian, the game plan for large parts of the game was saying, these are going to take something special to score against us today. And that's what the manager has to sort of deal with. And the set of players, because this is another thing you have to, and I do this all the time, and I know I do. You look at the players and you go, should be doing better, and you look, and you take a step back and you go, look at the players we've got. Look at the players. I know we love to talk some of our players up, but again, in the context of who you're playing against, the world's apart. You've got James Garner in against McAllister, who's won a World Cup. As a starter, you've got the difference, the context of the players, the different where they've come from, where they are in their careers are so different. Onana trying to find that step up, and actually done really well since he dropped into the number 6 role. Decore, who's we use as a second striker, but we know when he's on the ball, he's not so good, and he's actually picking the ball up in areas where we're like, we don't actually want you to pick the ball up there. We want you to be higher. It is, when you look like for like, it's really hard to make an argument of not one of our players would get in their team. Let's be honest. Dominic Calvert-Lewin would have an outside shout because the amount of times they don't play with a proper striker. It's those, like, that's the difficulty, isn't it? What do you do when you get there? Do you have a go or do you have a game plan? And I thought we had a game plan, and I thought for a large part of it was working. And it's just those little things where you're like, oh, if only we had this, but we don't have them. And I think that's the key difference, isn't it? If you don't have those players, how do you manufacture that?
The problem was, obviously, it was the outball to Jack Harrison, because he had no one going on the outside of him. And you're right, it just made it easier for him to be marked. I mean, he put one great ball in before half time when he wriggled free and whipped it in, and Konate defended it brilliantly, because if he'd have missed it, Calvert-Lewin was there just to head it in. It was the only real time, because if he would have had, say, Patterson on the outside, well, someone's got to go with Patterson, and it gives him that half a yard. Or he just threads it through and Patterson's in down the back. Ashley Young never crossing the halfway line. And you're right. But that is going to limit us. It's going to stop. Every other team, or most teams in the Premier League, fullbacks go forward. You're seeing Liverpool's right back playing in the middle of midfield, and yet, because Michalenko doesn't cross the halfway line, Dwight McNeil's not quick. There was a big gap on that side, and we never used it. We never once ran into it, whereas if you would have had quick play, if Everton would have had Luca Dean still, say, he'd have been in that space all the time. It's meant Trent Alexander-Arnold would have had to... But they knew, he wasn't worried at all about that left-hand side. No. Because they knew. And Michalenko had a really good game against Salah, to be honest, played very well. Everton did, Liverpool, for all of the ball he had, the only real attempt on target in the first half was an Alexis McAllister shot from about 35 yards, which Pickford spilled, but it was a powerful shot, and he dived on it. Other than that...
They had the one where Ashley Young actually blocked it as well.
Ashley Young got a great block in, but he'd already ran the wrong way, and that was off an Everton corner where Liverpool broke. Or an Everton free kick. It was really in fact, it might have been the one with McNeil, just hit one that got deflected just over Alisson's bar. So they, like I said, they broke on us off our play, and that was the most danger. I've said this a couple of times now. I normally watch a Merseyside Derby through my fingers at Anfield, because you know that they fly forward and you can feel we're going to concede in a minute. I had none of that at any time on Saturday. At any time did I think they built a head of steam up. I wasn't concerned at any time in the game, because they just looked flat. The crowd were quiet. The game was flat. And that's why the sending off has made it so frustrating for me. The first one, Ashley Young, I don't know what he's doing. Diaz is in his own half, just running, matching back up again, not leaving you for dead. Hangs a foot out, and Diaz kick goes over. Diaz does what they do, which is kick your foot and then spin. The referee's booked him fine. He said it's a booking, no issue with it. I'd have took him off after that, because obviously there was always going to be them coming down that side of him. It was going to be an issue. The manager's left him on. I get it's a brave call to take him off, but he's walking a tightrope for me, you could see it. The second one's a yellow card. The referee, there's discussion, and I know Ali McCoy was saying this in the commentary, of like, have a word with them and just warn him that that's his last one. But if you're going to play letter of the law, Ashley Young had to go, didn't he?
Yeah, and if that's the standard, then that's okay. I'd rather complain about a referee having too tight a standard for what qualifies about a yellow card than complain about a referee choosing as and when to enforce his standards. I can understand why Ashley Young's foul, his first one, was a booking, but the problem then comes when Tsimikas does the exact same foul a handful of minutes later and nothing's given. And that's the problem, and that at half-time was the conversation anyway. There was a conversation about the referee's management of the game before his worst mistake of the game, which came later on. And that early, it was just a bad sign for the referee that he wasn't going to ref this game down the line, because the consistency wasn't there. Like you say, the letter of the law, if that's a foul, if that's a booking, then fair enough. We don't like it. We'd rather see players get a bit more leeway, be able to put bigger challenge in. But if that's the way, that's the way. But it needs to be the same for every player, for every team.
I just look at that. And this is where I don't understand quite the Ashley Young thing. Is like, I don't understand why you would put a tackle in there knowing it's going to be a yellow card. No. Or is that a 38-year-old thinking that he is going to get away with one because it is the derby and that's how things have always been done in a derby or in a big game? I don't know on that first one. It's like, it's cynical. I know he hangs the leg and he does fall over it, but you still hung the leg.
Yeah.
You still put it out there.
Yeah,
you
there's
still
no
give
reason
you give him the opportunity to fall off, but it's in their half.
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to achieve?
No threat.
They're not gonna. If they score from that, no one's gonna have said, "Well, why didn't you boot them up the arse in the opposition half?" You know, I don't get that, and I don't get that how someone so experienced can do that, and then get called for the second one for basically the same thing.
Why would you lunge? That's
Exactly, especially when you're on the inside and you can cut them out and then basically ease them off the pitch. No one's going to book you for easing. As long as you don't put your hands up and push them. If you ease them off the pitch, no one's going to do anything.
But it'd have been better just shoving them. Even if you give a foul, because you wouldn't have been booked.
This is what I don't understand. It's like with the managers thinking. It's because it's great to have experience, but if that experience starts letting you down, you know, listening to Seamus on that podcast, and he was like, I feel good. If I ever feel isolated, I'll know when to hang the boots up. And I just think, seen 3 or 4 times where Ashley Young, where you think you have been caught exposed and you have just done the easy thing, which is just to foul someone and take the yellow card. It's like, that can't be the answer.
No.
That can't be the answer to being caught out. It simply can't. And I'd rather have. It's Nathan Patterson is still raw. His injuries and being left out the side has curtailed him. But at some point, you're going to have to let the lad develop on the pitch. And again, I understand how that is a difficult balance in that when you've got a team that's not doing so well and it's struggling and you want someone who you think you can just rely on. But you've got a young lad there who's like chomping at the bit to play games, and he's going to have to play next week. You know, now Ashley Young would have been suspended anyway next week, I think, just with the first yellow. That would have been his 5th. So he would have played anyway, and you've got
unless he just plays Seamus, cold.
Well, there's talk that he might play Garner there. But I find that situation staggering, where a kid who was, you know, Scotland international, I know he's lost his place now, we might get it back because of their injuries and stuff, but I find that you've got to be prepared, especially he has got Tarkowski on his side if he plays right back. He's got experience talking to him. It's a blend. He's got Jack Harrison in front of him now, so he's got a proper right-sided player in front of him who's going to help him, who's going to work with him. It's strange, very strange.
I understand Young taking Patterson's place in the team for a while, because Patterson needed taking out the firing line. I said it several times, but that situation needs to be reassessed now, especially after that, because Young's not covered himself in glory before this anyway. I don't think we're getting what we need from him stylistically either, especially with Harrison on that right flank, like we mentioned, with Harrison's isolation. Yeah. And then as well, just this mistake, just looking at this singular yellow card, his second yellow, it was stupid if you said to me which Everton right back is going to put a silly challenge in when they're already on a booker and get sent off an important game. You wouldn't go, 38-year-old who won the Premier League and played under Sir Alex Ferguson and that. It was silly and it out of character, I think it's fair to say as well.
I don't know if it's been out of character for this season, no, Jack. It's like he's chasing his tail. It's basically like,
well, he's essentially had 6 bookings now in 9 games, if you include the 2 in the one game.
And you look at amongst them, they are just chasing the tail. It's like a thing that he would have done 10 years ago, and he thought he would have got away with it. And now it's like you're just trying to save yourself, where maybe you have to at times just go, I'll let him go past me. What is going to happen? What will happen if I let him go past me? Someone else will cover it. I'll put my hand up and say I made a mistake.
I don't understand like, you're absolutely right with the first one. It's in their half. Diaz is never out sprinting them and out sprinting everyone for it, so you've got a chance to recover and get back in, or someone comes across. The second one, you know you're on a booking, so if you get it wrong, you're off. You know that you are. He's not, the referee's already booked you for one.
You know he's quicker than you.
And he's let the other fella get away with it, so you know whose corner he's in, and he's quicker than you. So really, goes past you, just try and get round the back and cover someone will have to come across. If they score, you turn around and go, what could I do? If I touch him, I'm off. You've got a defence there, haven't you, at least? You dive in. You're not getting away with it. You're just not getting away. And especially when Trent Alexander-Arnold's running over, going like that, basically get him off and all that. The referee couldn't wait. couldn't wait to send them off. And it was just naive, it was stupid.
Naive by a 38.
Exactly, well it was though. If it was a 17-year-old, you go, experience that.
But it's even not even the tackle. The tackle's not even good. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like he doesn't extend his leg.
No.
He doesn't nearly touch the ball and touch him. He almost goes over on his own under his own weight, and then takes him out with that. It's like it's such a bad one.
It was lazy. I thought.
No, it was.
Like, there wasn't that switch in his head that especially a 38-year-old should have to go, hold on, no, I shouldn't do that.
Maybe sometimes you don't have that switch. I said this on the aftermatch. It's like, as you get older, the connection between your brain and your feet just gets longer and longer and longer.
Yeah,
even if you're playing on the PlayStation and you go to press a button and it just doesn't, it's just not there. It's like your reaction speeds will be so much longer the older you get. That's just fact. That's why lots of players, Gary Neville famously, just went, I'm done. You know, just after a game in the middle of the season, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I'm not saying Ashley Young should do that, but I just think for that's like one where you go, right, what? He's going to beat me on the outside. So what am I going to do? Well, the inside is a shorter route, so I'm just gonna stay in the inside and block his path. I just thought that was incredibly stupid. Yeah. And the manager afterwards has basically just said, well, you know, what do we want them to defend? It's like, that's not defending, though. No. That's not good defending. An experienced player will use all his years there. Phil Neville said that. Phil Jagielka said that after the game. He said, expect more out of a player there, because you know when you get older, there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. And
just got to ease them out. Having your old blocker's path, you don't even have to, you know, diving in like that, you're asking for a book, and if you'd just blocked them, you're not going to get booked for blocking it, but you might be a foul. You're not going to get blocked. Or just follow him.
You're giving the manager, you're giving the ref a decision to be made, aren't you?
You know, the ref.
The first card should have given the manager the decision.
Like him saying it, I'm not sat here fuming because the referee booked them again, because he's given the ref an easy option to send them off, and obviously we got through to half time, and then the managers took both of our wide players off at half time, brought Michael Keane on, and gone 5 at the back, and obviously Nathan Patterson.
Is there an argument to say that maybe Jack Harrison could have played right wing back?
Absolutely.
Possibly.
He's a player who doesn't.
And maybe made Michalenko left centre back.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, go Michalenko as your back three, and then I know he was doing well up against Salah, so maybe you want to keep him there. But you look at how consistently Michael Keane's made mistakes in this Everton team, especially recently as well. It feels like every time he's on the pitch,
No, you don't want to single people out. But if there's a bit of bad, even things like bad luck, if there's a bad, it'll find Michael Keane at the moment, won't it?
Yeah, he's that cartoon character with the rain cloud over his head. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a consistent thing, and you know. And also, I think it puts everybody, the fans sort of just go,
uh-oh. He's just having a bad time and everything's going through 4 years. But I think the manager. It's hard for me to sit here and go, I don't know what he was doing. It was stupid because it wasn't. Because
I'm not gonna.
It just took away any attacking threat we had.
I'm not gonna look at the situation and go, we got it completely wrong. I don't think he did. I just think when you take a step back, you think, I don't even think we needed to make subs. I just think it could have been a case of Jack Harrison going to right wing back and putting Michalenko in as a third centre back and putting Dwight McNeil in, and just looking at. Because then what you're doing is you're giving yourself 10 minutes. You're giving yourself 10 minutes to see how it plays out. And I don't think necessarily bringing Nathan Patterson on and Michael Keane is that's a very immediate thing, and there's no coming back from that. I think we would have coped just as well. I know Michael Keane is in there for because you're thinking, well, if we push them wide, there'll be more crosses coming in. Yeah, there was more crosses coming in.
But they're never going to be crosses where they're beating us in the air, are they?
But that's what I'm saying, but that's why you have a Michael Keane, and that's why you might be thinking, well, I'd rather have a Michael Keane than a Michalenko. But I think we could have coped with 10 minutes and just gone, let's see what they're doing. Let's see how they react.
But what was the messaging? The messaging was, well, we're not going to attempt to go forward.
Don't concede.
Let's be honest. If they'd scored at any time in that game, the game is over, essentially, isn't it? So we have to keep a clean sheet. So the manager, but I'm not saying he shouldn't have gone back to back 5. I just think maybe we could have held off on the subs.
The personnel.
Just because the way our wide men are. I think our wide men could have easily, maybe he doesn't fancy Mykolenko. Okay, then you've got a question. Then you've got a decision to make because you know it's going to be a back five and you know Mykolenko's doing well. Fine, but I just would have give it 10 minutes maybe. But that's in hindsight though.
No, listen, he done it. We come out and again Liverpool. I keep stressing this. There was nothing. They weren't getting round the back of us. Jordan Pickford wasn't having to pull off worldies. We weren't having to like kick things off the line. They had a couple of moments where Tarkowski got a block in, which was brilliant. Things like that. But they had a lot of the ball. They would resort to, to shooting from miles out. We were coping fine. Yeah. And then there was and listen, they were the better team, of course they were. But they had a man up as well. They're a good side anyway, with an extra man. Well, against the team who aren't playing very...
They weren't up just a man up. They were a man up against the team that had decided that it was...
Going to defend. It was attack defence, second half, wasn't it? And the referee had helped that, really. He'd shaped how that game was going to start the narrative, if you like. He'd shaped that. But then there was the moment where it was his opportunity to stop any of this conversation by evening things up. Konate had been booked. And it isn't even, you know what? It's not even evening it up. Like, I'm going to even this up. Konate had been booked. James Garner plays
hang on, just on the first one, by the way, because I've seen people say it was soft. But Konate was booked because he was stopping Onana breaking forward. And he knew what he was doing. It was a cynical foul. He grabbed hold of him. And they're supposed to be, we've seen this before. We had another game earlier this season where the team should have been down to 10 men. I think it was Wolves. For a second, buck him up for holding on to his shirt. And they've been, this is something that hasn't changed.
Or Gomez.
I don't think it's something that, I don't know what's going on. But he gets booked for stopping Onana breaking. And then you get this one.
Well, we made the change. He took Dom off.
Not sure.
I wasn't convinced that early because it was 59 minutes and it wasn't like... I know, listen, Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't have a... Yeah, he didn't really affect it. He started looking brightly enough, but...
I think he was looking for chaos, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Beto you can understand. And he come in, listen, Beto done all right when he come on, but it wasn't necessarily just at that time. But he brought him on. And then we get the ball and James Garner plays it and Beto spins Konate and he's away. Now, okay, Van Dijk might well have got there. Not the point. He's away, and the fella kicks him and grabs him and pulls him down. Everyone knew in the ground. There wouldn't have been, unless you are the most blinkered, biased, bitter Liverpool fan, you will have gone, he's off here. You'd have gone, he's off. He can't survive this, because it was that much of an obvious booking. We've heard it today, Stephen Warnock, ex-Liverpool player, of course, saying, there's no way it isn't. Like, Dermot Gallagher's squirming because he's had to admit that a ref's got it wrong, which it's heaven forbid. He'd probably get a fine or something from Sky in the Premier League for doing it. Everyone knew Konate was off. Everybody knew it. And the referee shit the bed. And I think what Everton players should have done was walked him all over the pitch. We should have had everyone around him, everyone in his face. Like Trent Alexander, we should have been like that. Get him off. Everyone should have made it difficult for the referee. They make a big fuss of it, and we don't. We just allow him to go away. No, we won't go away, mate. No, we won't. Everyone picked. They should have all been round him because we just allow these people. There'll be people watching and go, why? What's the point? Well, yeah, that's why we keep getting these decisions, because we fell into this mindset that some Evertonians have of, what's the point in that, though? Let's just keep bending over and giving the Vaseline out then. Because Liverpool, tell you what, Liverpool haven't said what's the point after that VAR the other week. Still going on about it today. That months ago.
Still going on about Van Dijk.
Still go on about stuff that happened 3 years ago and all that. We just go, oh, we've been done again. Oh, well. We should have made it difficult.
No, Sean Dyche should have. And do you know what? Sorry, Jack. Do you know what? Right. You can even maybe think about, well, maybe Tarkowski didn't get in the ref's face because he was on a yellow card.
Yeah, because he booked him.
Because if I'd been Sarki, I'd been straight over there going, hey. And I know he did get over, but he was like, what's the difference? You booked me. And you told me why you booked me. What's the difference?
What's the difference?
And then that's where you need... And maybe that's where there is a lack of experience on our team. Maybe there is that lack of experience. You look at the team that we had out at that point, and there's not many.
Yeah, but you're a player.
No, I know.
You're a player. Yeah, but these players have got to stand up.
No,
these players should have been like, right, ref, I'm sorry, but nah, mate, we're not having it. And what would have happened? What could he have done if Everton had gone and just all stood together around him like that? What could he have done? It'd have made it, it'd have embarrassed him. And the problem is, there's not enough of this embarrassing referees when they make these. You've got to make a big story out of it.
That doesn't
and we
just
didn't.
go
We
for...
just go, oh, okay, ref, you keep cheating. We don't mind. That's what it comes across like, when we should have just walked over to the side and what's going on here? What's happening here? It would have caused uproar and the spotlight on a referee who has decided to alter the route of a game, because we had people might think, oh, you know, stop going on about it. No, it was 0-0. It was 0-0. Yeah. It could have gone anywhere, 10v10. Liverpool may still have won. They're a better team than us with better players. They may still have won the game. But we wouldn't know, would we? We weren't hanging on. We weren't hooking things off the line. Our goalie wasn't having an 11 out of 10 performance, was he? It was comfortable.
I'd say arguably this is worse than the actually Liverpool's against Spurs, because against Spurs, no, but that was just a mistake. Someone just forgot to.
Oh, okay.
No,
yeah,
but
that in England did less.
No, all that was simply a mistake that happened in the VAR room where someone just didn't communicate properly. This was more blatant. This was a fella who stopped the game, give a foul, and just went, nah, I won't give a yellow card. So he actually...
So we should be getting a replay then?
So no, I'm not saying we should get a replay.
Are you sure?
I don't want a replay.
Okay.
I don't want to. I'm just going to put it in the big book. The big book. The big Derby book. That's how I'm going to put it in there. You know, with forward by Brian Hamilton. I'm going to put it in the big book. But this is well worse than this. Yeah. This was just a clerical edit. It's just clerical. It was just...
What do you think?
The Royal Mail just forgot to send the letter.
What do you think Big Yergy would have said if it was the other way around?
Oh, they'd be human. I mean, let's be honest, right? He takes Canati off. 2 minutes later, like it's Sunday League kids footy. It was like that.
Get him off.
Ref was like, yeah, you better take... Like the fourth official probably went, I'd take him off.
Take him off now. Take him off before we have to send him off.
There was nothing like more blatant, was there? It was like, he couldn't have done it anymore.
Do you reckon they'll put Ashley Young's yellow card? The second one?
Like,
they'll have to pay the fine.
It couldn't have been any more sneak, like, come off, but no, go the other way. Go the other way. Walk, go the other way. Put a high vis on or something and just pretend you're a steward.
Yeah, just hide out the way for a second.
Put a hat on.
Yeah.
Keep your head down.
You put the hat on, no one recognises.
No, but it was just like, that to me was just like, this fella has just done the rest job for him. He can't, it was just so funny to see that. It wasn't funny at the time, but when you think back, he was
no, it is kids' foot. We get that in kids' foot.
Oh my God.
You take this lad off for it, so I don't have to send them off.
Yeah, it was just so stupid. And
it's a
you know what the mad
decision.
thing was though? Like, I know what you said before, but Beto is so leggy, and Van Dijk's knee is obviously like cheese stringy, that I think he would have done Van Dijk as well. And he probably would have missed the one-on-one. He probably would have got all our hopes up.
But even if he'd have got to the ball or got closer, if Van Dijk would have had to deal with it, you can't just say to a player, as Ned would
Not
say.
ethical.
No, not ethical. But Luis Diaz wouldn't have got the one he flicked past Ashley Young. So you can't go, it's not a booking, because he wouldn't.
Well,
I didn't think he was
certainly thought Beto was getting it, didn't he? Otherwise he wouldn't have had to foul.
And he knew. You see in his face, he knew. It was like when you see a dog when he's done something wrong and you shout at them and he don't want to look at you. Their head's down, he knew. I've seen that from Zach in the past when I've told him off. I've seen it from Ned when he does the wrong title or a thumbnail's not great. You see him look down. Konati goes, oh, I'm getting a bath, I'll be able to have a chat with Ashley.
Tarkowski's come out afterwards and he said, you know, I got booked because the referee said I was in the wrong position. Well, number one, what's the wrong position? Has been reading the Kama Sutra or something?
Is this ref bloody UEFA licence?
Like, how can you be in the wrong position? He's on the pitch. So how can you be in the wrong position? Are you saying that Trent Alexander's in the wrong position? He plays right back.
Well, he might be. Trent Alexander-Arnold was playing in the
I'm giving the short version. Like, how can you tell someone...
Refs can't tell players they're in the wrong position. That is unethical.
It's like hockey. It's like you can only have so many players forward at one time. Yeah, you're in the wrong zone, mate. That's a foul. That's a booking.
Once that happened, I mean...
No, you knew.
That was it, wasn't it? Once that had happened, you think, that's... Like we were talking before, like saying everything's got to go your way. Well, when things don't go your way, then you know what's coming.
But that was unique. That was the opportunity. And again, it's like I said it before, and I don't mean it in the way of you can level this up.
It is leveling up.
But what you're doing is you're giving the same decision what you give to the other team. So you're playing it straight down the line. If he'd have sent Konati off,
Konati.
If he'd have sent Konati off and Liverpool win the game. No, we couldn't have been sat here going, oh, well, he shouldn't have sent Ashley Young off, because they go, well, Konate got the same treatment.
Yeah. But at that point, if we lose that we've been bettered, they've been the better side and they've deserved to win.
Course,
we never got to know in this situation. And I know we were having a laugh on that, but you mentioned the Tottenham one for them, and that was awful, don't get me wrong, but that, like you say, there was a miscommunication.
It's just a clerical error.
Whereas what has happened here is it's a purposeful misinterpretation of the rules, and he's avoided doing his job for the sole purpose as he hasn't wanted to send a Liverpool player off. And that he's failing to do his job there.
At the end of the day, right?
And then you're putting question marks on everyone.
It's the integrity question.
It's a situation, right, which is black and white for the referee. It doesn't go to VAR.
No.
It's only his decision.
Yeah.
It's an interpretation. He'll have a get out. It doesn't matter if he hasn't done anything wrong in the eyes of the laws. He's just made it. No one can say to him this week, we need you to step down. You've done something wrong. In the eyes of the law, what he's done is up to him. We can all say it's wrong.
I know.
But that's the problem, isn't it? The problem is that there's no. Like we've talked about this before, it's so stupid. If someone gets a yellow card and the VAR feels like it's a red card, they can tell the ref that it should be looked at. And yet, in this one where you don't get a yellow card, which would lead to a red card, the VAR can't tell you to go to the screen.
Well, what do you think about Sean Dyche saying VAR should have been instructed?
Well, he should.
It was a booking.
I don't know.
Because it was a game-changing decision.
For me, every decision in the game should be able to be looked at.
Well, what about people who say, well, you'd have, say like I put a tackle in on you, and the ref just gives a free kick, and Jack's on VAR, and he sees it, he should go, that's a yellow to the ref. Should he say that?
Should say that's a yellow.
Or should it only be if I'm on a yellow card and the ref doesn't give it, he should go, because that is a game-changing moment. You know what I mean? Not for every booking.
I honestly believe every decision that happens in football
should be looked at
in real time. So if it happens in real time and someone's seen it, I think it should be able to...
I'm not convinced going from nothing to a yellow should be. But I am convinced a yellow to a red. But a yellow to a red is a game-changing moment. The same as a penalty. Yeah. The same as a thingy. So that, to me, they should have said, it's a yellow card. He's dragged them back. It's a yellow card.
They love the term clear and obvious. Is that not a clear and obvious game-changing moment?
Clear and obvious
take a man off them. That's a clear and obvious game-changing moment. It changes the whole outlook of the game.
10v10.
I think, to be fair, Klopp should have subbed Konate off and not put a player on. I think that's
just for the integrity of the game.
For the integrity of the game. I think he should have done that.
Or just like sent like the groundsman on or something.
No, 10 men's fine. The grounds won't probably score against us.
Yeah, the groundsman will get the winner.
The fans won't
you go full Curtis Jones and bend it in the top
I think
corner.
for the integrity, and that's what we know Jürgen loves. He loves the integrity of the game. I think he should have just gone, come off. No, we won't put anyone on.
Because you've made an error.
And it's not just a clerical error. It's a proper error.
It's an error, and we'll be the bigger people.
Yeah, we will be the bigger people.
One thing I don't think they got wrong was the penalty.
No.
Michael Keane had his hand out, his arm out, and the ball would have been going into the middle of the box, and he stopped it with his arm. Okay, he's looking away. I've seen...
Why is he looking away?
I've heard Ali McCoy saying, I like it better when it's deliberate, and he's looking away. Is it a penalty? His arm's
is he looking away, though?
I don't know. Scared of getting
What's he looking away at?
Scared of getting it with the ball. Can only be. It can only be.
That's awful, mate.
And
that's awful. To do that twice. Two of Everton's last three penalties are Michael Keane handballs in exactly the same one. In fact, when we did against Leicester, he showed the ref why.
I was glad he wasn't doing that this time. He was going, ref, it was here.
It was like, no, that to me. See, this one, I do think it's a pen because the ball is there. I'm not into all this when it's like you're on the floor and all that, but that when it's like
it's away from his body,
it's going across,
going into the danger zone.
So I just again, it's this thing of like players. What don't you get?
I say this to the kids who we coach. They always turn their back.
Yeah.
I say Zach does it as well when he's charging the ball down. Going, you realise you're going to get hit if you don't look at the ball. Look at the ball and you can see where it is. If it's coming, you can go like that. But doing this, so why is he like this?
Yeah. I don't understand why. Again, like I was saying, almost...
Surely if you're watching the ball, you can put...
That's what I'm saying about Ashley Young. You've got to adapt to the rules. you've got to adapt. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. Your experience should give you more ability to adapt.
Yeah.
You're coming into it. I don't understand younger players can go, well, we've had to deal with this rule and that rule from the get-go, so we understand that, and we've played the game since these have been in.
Yeah, but that's like saying someone who's been like in a business for years and then they bring like the IT system and they don't know, I like better adding up with a calculator
Back in my
and a
day.
pen and
But
paper.
that's what I'm saying.
And then you've got to adjust.
They've got to go to train and go. And the manager's got to understand that. And listen, Michael Keane should not be an Everton player. We should have got rid of him a long time ago. We should have replaced him. We all said this in the summer. We needed another centre-back. The manager likes him. He thinks he can trust him, but he can't trust him because he's just not very good. And he makes these kind. No, but he isn't though. He isn't. Michael Keane is not a good defender.
I just think what's happened now with him is his confidence has gone as an Everton player. I'm not denying he'd be both. They both need we need a new centre back and he needs a new start. If there's anything gonna go wrong, it'll happen to Michael Keane.
No, but that's the point though, isn't it? But that's the point though, isn't it? It goes wrong because for me, a 30-year-old centre back shouldn't be taking his eyes off the ball.
No.
He should be brave enough and big enough to go, I'm going to make sure I can see where this is. And if it's coming over, I'll pull my arm in. Like, that's
Yeah, no, it was.
That's
When
ridiculous.
I watched it again before because I hadn't really seen it and I hadn't wanted to watch it, of course. I hadn't wanted to watch it. And when you see it again, it is bad.
It is bad.
It's that.
It is bad.
It's like what?
It's amateurish.
No, the mad thing is the referee didn't give the penalty.
No.
He gave a corner.
Said it was a pen.
He gave a corner. No, you could see it, but he gave a corner, and it's like, and Dyche is right, Sean Dyche is right. When they go and look at this, what's the point? Just say it's a penalty.
Yeah, so
There's no point running over to look at it. Because that's just bloody theatre.
And it cost them more time.
Exactly, so you just go, it's a penalty, and the ref just goes like that. VAR to penalty, and you got, Mo Salah dispatches it as you'd expect, and that was it then. We've been kicked in the balls with the red card, not the non-red card, and we're behind, and obviously then, the manager did make some positive changes. He tried to get us up the pitch a bit, but Liverpool were always a threat. Pickford makes a brilliant save from Harvey Elliott.
But this goes back to what I was saying before, though, about, do you not think, though, after they scored, there were opportunities? Because
there was. We had 2 or 3 breakaways.
Listen, the atmosphere was literally one of the worst I've ever heard.
Silent.
It was silent.
Well, it was that bad.
Absolutely silent.
The commentary team about 20 times referenced it. Going.
It was
really quiet.
It was silent. There was nothing getting going until they scored the penalty. And then even after that, there was almost...
They were edgy.
There was an air of, this is one. And then when the board went up, and it was like, we'd already put, we brought Dan Juma on, and then later on he brought Schmidt on, which is fine, because he's having a little go at least.
Yeah.
And we had that corner, which I think actually led to their second goal. And you just think with a bit of quality, with a bit of care. And that's actually one of the things that it does annoy me. Our set pieces do annoy me.
The poor, yeah.
Because I do think that when you're playing someone like Liverpool, or you've got to be a bit more clever. Why not come up with a clever little short where you can
mix it?
That might be the only chance you get.
Yeah, exactly. Like in that moment there where all the Liverpool players are expecting one into the box, and you've got a big, good goalkeeper who controls his box. Why aren't you thinking something a little bit different?
The corner come in and they kicked it out for a throw-in, so it was our throw-in. And we threw it into... We had 3 men around the ball. We threw it in. We lost the initial header, and bit of fortune, it could have broke to us, and it didn't.
Schmidt
couldn't get it because it was under his feet, and they broke him.
But when you were relying, but the point is, when you're in a game like this and you're relying on those set-piece moments, why aren't we thinking a little bit different?
Yeah.
Why aren't we thinking
We've done it. We had one, the one where McNeil, in the first half, when he has the shot, and it goes for the corner, and he just puts the ball in Alisson's hands, and you're like, he's a good goalie, and he'll claim it. So you got to come up with something different, and you're right, there was nothing different. It was just like, this is injury time, 94th minute. Just toss it into the box and let them just head it clear comfortably. No one's running near post. There's no movement in and around the box. It's just a safe ball in.
It did seem as well, we did see set pieces as like our only path to victory, and that's why they were having so much success on the counter attacks, because we were committing so many men forward for the set pieces. But okay, that's good, but what are you going to do with the set piece as the ball going, and how are you lining up for it? You can't just have bodies and that's it.
I imagine going out for the second half, one of the instructions were we'll get a chance off a set piece here, lads, we will. So you've got to come up with something good in that moment.
But what are you doing with
But
it?
what are we doing? Is it just getting tossed into an area? They've got Van Dijk, who's great in here. So you've got to have other people who will attack him then. Try and miss him out where he stands.
And because the goalie's good as well.
The goalie is, yeah.
You're putting it into areas then where you know the goalie's got one area, Van Dijk's got another area. You've got to pull them apart a little bit. You've got to drag people out a little bit and be a little bit more cute. And you've already took off, you know, your set piece taker in you know McNeil
and your best header of the ball in Dom.
So you've got to think about something different, and that did disappoint me a little bit because, as I said, when in the 90th minute, there was almost this air of this game's finished. The ground's not, you know.
We did break forward a few. We had one with Dan Zuma where he went on a good run, but he should have laid it off.
Bad selection again, though.
Beto done really well, knit a shot, but that was a 2-0, wasn't it?
Weren't the stats something like it's the least amount of passes played by a team in the Premier League this season? Passes that got to the other player. I think it was 22 passes we completed. Game. Like, that is shocking.
That's awful.
Like, I think even Sean Dyche referenced how bad that was.
No,
that is shocking. When you get the opportunity, if you're going to have low possession, you've got to capitalise.
We had, in the first half, we had 3 moments in the first half at 0-0 when we were on the front foot. Decore wasted 2 of them. He had options either side, and he just carried on running into a wall of Liverpool players. Like, what are you doing? Lay the ball off. Dom had peeled one way, McNeil had peeled. It was a simple, but I know we can laugh and go, he's not great with the ball. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry, but a 5-year-old kid can pass a ball from me to Ped, and he couldn't. He's messing with it and then falls over and they break. And we had the one that James Garner pinched, and he pinched it, and again, Dom Peel, there's 3 Everton players in front of him, and he finds Van Dijk. 1 or 2 Liverpool. And it was them moments. It was them. It was like he fired, and it's like, you didn't have to get rid of it. You could have travelled with it, and it was those moments. And he was very poor, James Garner.
Yeah.
Dreadful game he had.
They're the moments where you can have your chances, and in a game like this where we are going to have to be defensive and we're playing a good team, you don't get many chances.
No.
You have to be very clinical in how you handle these opportunities. You know, I know Decore is what he is, and I don't expect him to pull off those passes, but he needs to be able to. There's the very simple situations that, like you say, a 5-year-old should be able to do.
That's what's my area about that lack of quality. It's like Decore can do a certain job in a certain game, and we've seen that away from home. But when you've got those very few moments, and suddenly, not only is he a player who's playing as a second striker, but actually the position he's playing in, he's actually been asked then to be a attacking midfielder who almost what you want from James Garner, and that's the worry. Then is like, as I said, you need that's where real quality comes in. That's when having 3 all-round midfielders plays a huge part in what you're trying to do, and we just don't have them. And as we said, if we don't have the fullbacks, and all these things are just a culmination of what makes a team. And the more of those players you've got, and the more players you've got who can get up and down and can create overloads, who'll back the striker up, the better team you're going to have. But unfortunately, we'll have a team that plays against Bournemouth, and you go, oh, well, look great today. We'll put the same team against Liverpool, and they'll go,
it's a different level.
You can't play. You can't play against those kind of teams at their stadium, limited the way we were, because you do have those moments. Your moments have got the players have got to have confidence that they can break over the halfway line. Sean Dyche, I'm not having a go at his game plan for the game. They're a better team, so you accept it. But your personnel dictates.
Well, this is what this it actually does make a mockery of when people say you've got to keep a winning team. That's nonsense. Because if you go from a team like Bournemouth at home to a team like Liverpool away, the standard is...
You judge the context of the opposition, don't you, and the requirements of that game.
And again, I'm not having a go for his team selection at all. No. I think he should have played Patterson. I don't know how much difference it would have made, but I do think he should have played him, but I understand why he didn't play him. But it does make a mockery of that, you've got to keep a winning team. That just doesn't exist anymore. There might have been an option to play 3 at the back and start with wing-backs or whatever. You've got to play the game you're playing and not just go, oh, we're fine, we just beat Bournemouth 3-0, we'll be sound here. Bournemouth are dross. You know, and Liverpool are really the Champions League. Well, the Champions League level, aren't they? You know, they're not in the Champions League, but they are Champions League level. And I'm sure they'll go on to prove that this season. So you've got to play that game, and sometimes you get, as I said, Decore is a clear point. In that role, he plays someone like Brentford, and he's playing between the lines, and he can't pick him up, and he's not asked to do that job of actually be creative, Because we know we can't.
I look at
can't pass on 5
I look
yards.
at that role, and this is probably the stupidest comparison you can make, so I apologise. But
Pele?
Not Pele.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
look at someone like James when we beat Liverpool at Anfield. When you see that, it just come back into me because I've seen the goal again on Friday. But within that instant, when Decore gives him the ball, he kills it and plays it, and Richarlison scores, and it's like that's how. And
It is
I'm
just
talking
like that,
about
isn't
a
it?
fella
No,
with. I'm talking about a fella with incredible
But that's
talent.
what you're talking
But
about.
Decore just doesn't have that.
But that's what you're talking about. You're talking about that to beat the best, you've got to have those kind of players.
Or someone who is a little bit more creative
but
in that position.
I don't think in those situations where Decore gave the ball, I don't think we needed James Rodriguez there. I think we just needed an average passing ability of a Premier League midfielder. Yeah. And I get what you're saying. You're right. You do need to acknowledge the limits in your team. You absolutely need to. Otherwise, you're being unrealistic.
Ironically, on Saturday, and we're going to look at some numbers in a minute, but ironically, Decore's best work was defensively.
Yeah,
So we almost could have took James Garner out or played James Garner right back and had someone like Dwight McNeil off the striker or Dan Human maybe, or
to be fair,
or even because I'd have backed. Put it this way. This is how poor Decore was with his passing on Saturday. I'd have backed Garner. It's Richard Garner.
To be fair to this squad, what this squad massively misses is a number 10 style player.
A quality midfielder.
Someone who can get on the ball. Because it was somehow James Garner after the game, it was like he was poor.
No, he was.
Right, he was poor. And one of the things you look at it was the game passed him by. His defensive numbers aren't terrible.
They're all right, yeah.
But it was we needed him on the ball, and we needed him to have a game where the opposition fans look at him and go, "It's decent, him." And I don't think, and it was a classic case of, and we've done this a million times doing this over the years, where we go into a derby and you're like, if you talk someone, they'll say to you, "Who's good for you?" You go, "James Garner's
playing really
doing
well
for us," and then they turn up and they'll have gone, Is this
ball.
the fella they've been raving about? No wonder they. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? And we've done that loads of times.
And don't get me, this isn't bagging James Garner up. James Garner's good. It's just at the moment. Don't forget, this is like the most Premier League games he's ever played. He's learning on the job, right? And there might have been an argument for the manager and 20 minutes in to go, actually, let's swap Decore and Garner.
Yeah,
move them. And I know Decore, but what I mean by that is, if you just go and look at the defensive work, like Decore did do at the weekend, he was better for James Garner probably as well, but he was better for us sitting alongside Onana in that role than he was higher up the pitch because he didn't get near them.
The Birkenhead Pirlo will have his day.
Exactly, of course
he wasn't Saturday.
Of course, I know what I feel like. Maybe the hairstyle might need to change a little. He's got some like
him and Messi just weren't on it.
No, well, your favourite player, Messi. No, listen, it is what it is.
The only one who stood out was Vitaly Maldini.
Yeah, well, he had a great game. Well, Messi come off and can say, well, lads, when me and Jackie were on the pitch, it was 0-0. We were getting something.
0-0.
We mentioned Decore, he was nearly man of the match, weren't he?
Nearly man of the match.
I don't know what Ali McCoy I don't know what Ali McCoy was smoking, but they did. Ali McCoy stand the other fella who was just stopped short of singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" through the whole 90 minutes commentating.
He's a weird cat, Ferdinand, by the way.
He is weird. Yeah, Ferdinand's weird.
Kept saying Ashley Cole, didn't he?
He's weird. He's just like weird. He's the one who started all the stuff about the ball going over the bar. Oh, the technique.
Yeah, but
the technique is in the bit where the builders are still putting seats in your tit.
That Fletcher, when Jordan picked Ferdinand went, I don't know where the Pickford they got it. When you show it, Pickford's there and the ball goes above.
He wouldn't have got it because the fella with a hard hat's getting it, mate. That's why he wouldn't have got it.
I was laughing.
You don't want him to get to it because then it's going for the corner. If he can grow 3 feet and get it.
He got to one. He should never have got to one when Marco Silva was the bleeding manager. If he'd have left that alone, he'd have gone out for a goal kick.
I'm not being funny. If they commentated like that for us, they'd be screaming those things every. The technique has Decore puts another one.
Garner's technique as he hits the back row of the street. Tremendous.
Just put one by the corner flag. Unbelievable technique.
Look at the way it's that.
Decore, he's just trying to pass it to McNeil and put it in the stands. The technique,
of
the
that
ability.
Fella in row Z to kill it on his chest. It was not. It was some of the worst. It was up with Pawson refereeing. It was some of the worst commentary I've ever heard.
It was a bad day for
Ali was all right. He wobbled a couple of times, but you would do with having Rio blabbering utter nonsense in one ear and that Fletch chatting shite alongside you. But there you go. Yeah, listen, after Liverpool, you know, they deserve to win. You can't really argue with that in the end. But once they got the goal, it was the stats will tell you they did, but it was heavily weighted by the referee.
The stats would be different had the referee.
Of course, the referee was the key man. Referee, there'll be an asterisk by it, of course. Let's have a look at the stats.
Are we not doing any of the player ones?
Well, we will now. These are just the main stats. 26 shots to 6 on side for Liverpool, 1 Everton, 2 big chances, none for the Blues, 78%. Which isn't high as it should have been against 10 men.
Yeah.
12 v 10, you would expect a lot bigger.
They should be disappointed with themselves.
They should be massively disappointed.
We get that against 11 men, so really.
So they've let themselves down there.
We should have been below 15, really.
Yeah.
Well, 12 v 10 makes it, should have been more. Let's have a look at James Tarkowski. He had a good game at the heart of the defence. 4 block shots, 1 interception, 1 tackle, won 5 out of 10 of his duels, completed 5 out of 7 long balls. His clearances were quite high as well. He was solid again, James Tarkowski. Another solid display.
Yeah, it's what you expect from Tarkowski, isn't it? Just that solid, dependable display, heads everything away. Yeah, he's reliable, James Tarkowski, isn't he? That's the word you'd use to
No,
sum
he's
him up.
reliable and the aerial stuff, obviously, massively important. But no, he was him and obviously Branthwaite, who we're going to look at now. They both.
Well, he had 4 ball recoveries. He won 75% of his aerial duels, 50% of his tackles, clearances 2 out of 2, header clearances 1 out of 1.
When you think about the context of the goals, there's not any. No. You know, I'd love to have seen Michael Keane's hand disappear and to see how Tarkowski would have dealt with that cross, because I think he would have.
Edited out.
Yeah.
Jarrett Branthwaite, obviously young lad come in this season, played excellently, and I thought he handled the derby really well at the weekend. Very composed. These are his numbers and his heat map. We have a look now. 8 clearances, 3 interceptions, 2 tackles, won 50% of his duels, and key passes. How many?
One.
1 key pass.
1 key pass.
And I thought he, considering it was Anfield and all that, up against a really good side.
No, both.
Thought he did well. He had 11 ball recoveries.
No, he was excellent, and he didn't let anything faze him.
8 out of 8 clearances.
There was a couple of moments.
6 out of 6 header
There
clearances.
was one where the ball come across and he just swung a leg at it, and then I think it was Toffee who had to block the follow. So there was just a couple of moments like that. But when you see them together and the way they dealt with the game and the way he dealt with playing against those kind of players, he's not the one. He's not the one jumping in, is he? He's not the one getting a silly booking.
No.
He's not the one, you know, who people are looking at going, you know.
Might have to take him off.
Yeah, he's very calm and relaxed, and that's what you want from these games. And again, just another moment for him. And this is, again, I know it's not the same, but when you look at someone like Nathan Patterson, you've got to find a way. You've got to find a way to try and educate players and get them more games of football.
Let him grow into the position.
That
Patterson.
level of maturity from Branthwaite, from a young lad, it's always very promising because it's rare.
Yeah.
And that's why players like him stand out at that age. And I probably went home with a very sore head on Saturday because he just seemed to block Everton with his face just repeatedly. He got in the way of Everton, and it's another good performance.
He's a proper defender, Branthwaite, though, as well as being good with both feet. He throws himself
He's
in the way
old school and
of
new
shot.
school at the same time, isn't he?
He's cool school. There you go. And finally, Amadou Onana, who I thought had a very good game for Everton as well. 4 clearances, 1 interception. Completed 12 out of 16 passes, 3 out of 3, won all of his duels. 50% of his long balls, at a 75% passing accuracy. He had 7 ball recoveries.
That one
as well. The one on the edge of the box.
one where he got
early
back
on.
when they broke from a corner.
It was impressive, wasn't it?
Incredible, that.
Absolutely.
But again,
fouled twice, 2 shots as well.
difficult to.
Tried to chip Alisson from his own half.
That was a bit of a worry, but yeah, listen, it's sometimes again you look at it and people will go, he didn't really do anything in the game, but he did he did his job in the game. You can't do your job and do someone else's job.
No,
it's
not against
easy.
the top side.
It's not easy. You need the players around you.
A midfield performance is one of the most heavily affected by being a man down,
Yeah,
as well,
of
isn't it?
course.
Because you need to cover more distance, you need to account for more holes on the pitch, so it changes his game. But I thought he handled it well.
This is the thing I took from it. Even with 10 men, it wasn't a siege. I've seen Everton be under siege 11v11 and not be able to get out of our box. It just wasn't like that.
No.
I know they had a lot of the ball, but if you think about it, Nunes had a shot from about 45 yards, which Pickford fell on. Sablowski had a great little bit of skill and blazed it over. Diaz whacked one over. There was nothing where you were going, oh, it's coming, it's coming. I never felt like that.
Well,
then he got the penalty and it's like...
Well, you always knew that was
That
coming.
looked like the only way they were going to score a goal. And obviously the second goal. Again, I had a go with Sean Dykes the other week and I thought I was 100% justified against Arsenal at home when we went 1-0 down. Because he just sat on the 1-0, never done anything. At the weekend, he did, he went for it. He got Striker on, he got Danjuma on, he got Schmidt on there at the end. He went for it, so I have no issue. The fact that he broke and made it 2-0. It was irrelevant. We were better. I'd have been fuming if he'd have left it. And we'd have had the 1-0 and that was it. And that we just let the game peter out.
Disappointed he never put Michael Keane up front.
Well, he tried and they scored after throwing. So no, I don't give any. No,
it is what it is.
He tried and they caught us.
Put a line under his feet.
Move on
and move on because that's what we can do.
I took from that a committed level of performance, and I thought we showed that we stuck in there. Now I think every player, even Michael Keane, at half time, I think everyone come on and give everything they had, and they got the rub of the green they needed it. They're a good side anyway. They got the helping hand from the referee. They then got another helping hand, which was a penalty from Michael Keane. And they won the game, and I don't think I couldn't criticise them. It was just one of them things. No. Criticise Ashley Young for being stupid.
Yeah, purely looking at the Everton team, very little to criticise. Like you say, Keane's singular moments, and obviously Ashley Young, and that's really it.
Yeah, we'll have better days, and we'll probably have worse days, but I think if we stick to a game plan like that, and the players put that kind of commitments in, they've got to be better with the ball. We weren't good enough with the ball. And that isn't just because you play in Liverpool, because I don't even think Liverpool didn't play great. Their midfield's not great. They're nice footballers, but as a midfield, they don't eat you out and get on top of you. And we just rush things when I don't think we needed to. But hopefully we learn from it, and we go to West Ham next week, and they've got a game Thursday night. They've just been battered at Villa, and then we play 1 o'clock Sunday. So we've got a week's rest. Ashley Young won't be playing, obviously be suspended. And if Everton can go out with that same game plan, as in everyone sticks to it, and the commitments, I think we can get a result at West Ham. And then, we have to look at it that way, don't we?
Yeah.
There you go. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. We've got a little bit of an extra bit on Premier if you're a Premier member. Give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't. If you want to become a Toffee TV Premier member, the link is in the description. The QR code's on the screen now. See you later.